Well, it is a very fine morning in the garden, and as I mentioned on Wednesday, I thought we'd spend a little bit of time together just getting those seedlings in, planting some fresh seeds for the beetroots, as well as tying up that pumpkin. So given I've got a little bit of a list, without further ado, let's just get stuck into it. Alright, I thought I would just very quickly show you the seeds I'm hoping to get in today. I want to plant some more of these beetroot seeds. As you know, one of my rows didn't come up, so I think that they were quite old seeds. So I want to plant some additional beetroot seeds to get that succession going. And then the other thing I thought we might do is, a few weeks ago now, we purchased these flower mix. So there's the Cottage garden, the verbena and the pansy mix. And I just thought we might go around and just do a very light sprinkling of these. The Cottage garden mix I'm very intrigued about. Some of those flowers look absolutely gorgeous. So we'll find some spots to plant these. And then I also need to get in those seedlings we bought and the pumpkin. So maybe we'll do the pumpkin first. Alright, apologies there, the angle is probably not the best for you, but I just wanted to show you I've got my brand new autumn gardening gloves on that we got in Wednesday's video when we went to the garden centre. They are so cute. Look at the leaves and the little acorns. Oh, adorable. Anywho, to business. So you will be very impressed to see that this is how much growth has come onto the pumpkin. I think it's quite substantial given that it's only been a couple of weeks. It's doing so well, and as I said, I'm very keen for it to go up like this. So I think even if just today we do 2 ties, and I'll have to kind of just keep on top of it, and as it grows I'll have to keep adding ties. But yeah, I think 2 ties should probably do it. So just to show you, this is the jute ribbon that we bought on Wednesday. And this is what I'm going to use to tie up the pumpkin. So you can see it's just sort of a natural jute material. It's quite thick and very soft. So that hopefully should be nice and not hurt the stem or anything. So maybe just, as I said, 2 ties for today, and then we'll see how we go. So I'm going to cut quite a long strip so that I can tie it up. that is the pumpkin tied up. That's worked really well. I'm very pleased with that. Can you believe how much this has grown? And I mean, look at all the new little leaves in there. It's got all new leaves, and you'll see it's got little offshoots and tendrils. So it's looking very happy. And then I'll just step back so you can kind of see it. Yeah, that jute ribbon was definitely the right thing. It just blends and looks a lot more natural. I think if I'd gone for sort of like those soft green ties, it just really would have stood out. And it is super soft on the stem, so it's definitely not going to cut in or anything. But it looks so cute. I'm so excited. It is going to be interesting once it gets close to those strawberries up there. We'll have to just play that by ear. I'm wondering if, as it gets a bit taller, once it kind of gets to here, I'm wondering if I sort of trail it up across like that, sort of through the air to get to the top, just so it doesn't get squished with the strawberries. But I'm really happy with how that's looking at the moment. And then just to show you the strawberries quickly. So still no flowers, but they're looking happy in there, which is nice. Okay, next job, let's get some of the seedlings in. I've got beetroot seedlings and I've got leek seedlings, so let's do that next. Alright, so these are my beetroot seedlings. You've seen me plant these before. Basically all I'm doing is just squeezing a little bit at the bottom there, like so, just to loosen up the soil, and then I'm going to dig a little hole and just pop them in there. So again, just squeezing very gently, pulling it out so that you get the root, and then I'm just placing the dirt around, like so. Sometimes if you find the roots are a little bit firmer in there, you can just sort of tip it upside down just to sort of help it fall out. Alright, you can see I've just added in those few little additional seedlings. So hopefully with this cooler weather we will have less pests and they will do well. You'll probably remember I'm leaving this gap here for the kale seeds, which we'll plant in a couple of weeks once it gets cold enough. Alright, on to the leek seedlings. So again, just squeezing the bottoms a little bit and gently pulling out. Now with something like leeks, you can sort of break them apart a little bit and separate them. So with this one here, I'm just breaking it apart very gently into 2 little bunches. So all the little new leeks have been popped in. You can see in there. So another job ticked off of our list. Now I might try and start to get those seeds in. So let's do the beetroot seeds first. Look at how well these little beetroot seedlings are doing. Seeds. They're doing so good. But yes, as I said, this whole row just didn't come up at all. So I think they were just old seeds. So I'm just going to make a little trench like this. And we'll get out our beetroot seeds. Oh, I probably shouldn't have put 2 gloves on for this. And we'll just do a little sprinkle of beetroot seeds. Just like that. So hopefully these ones will come up. We'll just tuck them in. Alright, beetroot seeds done. Let's have a little look around and identify some places for those flower seedlings, and we'll see if we can find some good spots. So I've come over to where these citrus trees are, and you can see at the moment I've got a little gap here. So I'm thinking I might do, that is quite a big gap, so I might actually do a little sprinkle of all 3 in this section here, and then there's another little corner sort of over the back there that I might sprinkle the cottage flower seeds as well. Just I'm conscious that they get quite tall. So, and they all pretty much like full sun. So let's do that. I've got a little shovel. I might just very gently sort of scrape over the soil, sprinkle the seeds, and then I can kind of cover it back over. The angle in there is not the best, so I'm probably not going to be able to film this bit of it, I don't think. We'll see. I'll see if I can position you in a spot where you can see what I'm doing. Alright, I have changed my mind. I'm not going to plant the cottage flowers in here. I'm just worried about the height. I don't want it to dwarf, like to crowd the citrus trees. So I'm just going to plant this one here and the pansy mix. So I've just opened up the seeds. Well, I'm not sure if I managed to capture anything there. What I ended up doing, if you'll know, you either will have seen that footage or you won't have. I ended up changing my mind, and so all I've planted in this little location here is the pansy mix and the verbena. Both of these like full sun and they don't get particularly tall. I was just worried with the cottage garden mix. Some of those get up to 90 centimeters, and I'm just a bit concerned about it crowding the citrus trees here. We just don't want them crowded at all. Gone to the effort of pruning them back, so I definitely don't want to overcrowd them now that they've got some really good airflow. So that's those seeds in. Now I've got another little spot in mind for the cottage garden mix. So I've just come up the little walkway here that's behind the water fountain, and I thought I would sprinkle the cottage garden mix, so this one here, throughout this area here. I think it'll just look really nice. You can see it from the main path. It gets full sun, you can see there's an irrigation here, so it gets water in that. And I think it'll just add, if they come up, it'll add a really beautiful pop of colour to this section. I'm actually on a hill here. And I'm not going to be able to do this one-handed, so I will show you once I have done scattering the seeds. Alright, it doesn't really look like I've done pretty much of anything here, but I have scattered the seeds through this section here and through here, so we'll just have to wait a couple of weeks and see if anything comes of it. I love doing these little experiments. I think it's so fun to see what grows, what doesn't grow. I was so amazed the last time we did the beneficial insect mix. That was just superb. We got so many flowers, so many, like a succession of just really different beautiful flowers. So I'm hoping this is going to be sort of similar. Gosh, is that just not one of the most beautiful coloured roses you have ever seen? That is one of my little mini roses, and it is the jewel colour. So it's got the little yellow centre you can see on the petal, and then the pink outer. They are stunningly beautiful. We're starting to get some more autumn flowers coming through. You can see here some pretty little white flowers. And then look at all the buds coming. Can you see through there? In the coming weeks, this will just be full of flower. some more have already started to come up here. Well, that was the bulk of my gardening jobs for today. I might just have a little sort of potter around out here for a little bit more, and then I will call it a day. But I'm very pleased that we got those things done, got the seedlings in, got some more beetroot seeds done, and that pumpkin, I'm just looking at it from where I'm standing. I'm so happy with that. I keep going on about the pumpkin. I've never grown a pumpkin plant before. So I'm very excited to sort of see what happens. But that is looking incredible. Look how big the leaves are. Gosh. Well, I might end this video here. I hope you're having an incredible week and a brilliant day. I hope you really enjoyed spending the time with me. We kind of just had a really nice little potter, a bit of an easy gardening day, which is lovely. Gosh, you can hear all the parrots. Would you look at that cucumber? How good is it doing? I probably need to get some fertilizer on that, I think. Maybe I'll do like a compost soil sort of combination for that. Alright, well, I'm going to bid you farewell. Thank you again so much for joining me, and I will see you next week on Wednesday. Bye!